Hello, my name is William Moffatt, and I am going to be covering the technology strategy for Sharp Corporation. So, why did Hayakawa think imitation is important? So, it's important to note that while Hayakawa advocated for making innovative products that competitors would want to imitate, the company had to primarily remain an assembly company. So while he wanted to innovate, Sharp lacked the capital and the time and the size to do so, and it could not vertically integrate into the market, so competitors copied its products rather quickly. To Hayakawa, competing with imitation was a primary driving force to continue innovating the Sharp Corporation's technology. So the Sharp Corporation had to be quick to innovate on new technology because of their lack of size. So instead, they aided in creating products that other companies wanted to imitate. So that way, Sharp could lead markets in new technology early. So while Hayakawa wanted to innovate, Sharp lacked the capital at the time to do so. But eventually, did they transition from imitation to innovation? And the answer is yes, they did. They invested in their own superconductor facility, so they were able to choose with more freedom to innovate by distinguishing where it could win and where it could not win, and then winning completely when it chose where it wanted to win. So, what is the difference between innovation versus imitation? So innovation involves searching for a high payoff opportunity, but paying a cost in order to do so. Innovation is a high risk for a high reward scenario. If a company is able to innovate properly, they could capture an entire market or even create a new market that previously did not exist or was unknown to companies at the time. It is up to companies to identify problems within markets and convince a consumer base that they are problems worth solving and spending their money on. Now, imitation is a little different in that it involves avoiding the search cost and copying the most successful payoff opportunity uncovered so far. So there's much less risk with imitation, with the caveat that the reward will be very slow to reveal itself, if any. It could also just be a complete loss because of a misstep. So with imitation, companies taking an existing product or service will refine it to be better, sometimes worse, and it requires a lot of knowledge about a given market that you're trying to imitate because every other company in the market is hunting for the same problems to solve or improve established features with their release of the next service. An example of both of these would be the Apple iPhone. When it was initially released, it was a all touchscreen phone that had calling capabilities, it had texting capabilities, and it was also a web browser and an MP3 player and anything else you could think of at the time. So it completely broke the cell phone market, and slowly but surely all the other phone manufacturers slowly started going to full touchscreen devices, and eventually some companies dropped out. Like BlackBerry could not imitate the Apple iPhone. Their phones completely failed in comparison to the Apple iPhone. But BlackBerry innovated just the same way that Apple did, where they created a phone that was also capable of texting, email, and internet, but they didn't have a full touchscreen. They had a keyboard on it, so they advertised it as a mini phone in their pocket, and they actually had or as a mini computer in their pocket. They actually got the nickname Crackberries at the time. Because of just how much people were able to use them for anything. But they couldn't imitate when the Apple iPhone came out. Unlike the Apple iPhone, which imitates its own product every single year and adds new features and refines it just to be a little bit better every single time. So, what historic technologies did Sharp invest in and commercialize during its history? Sharp created two major technological advancements that were very important at the time and still today for the most part. One was a desktop calculator that used a LCD screen, and the other was a 14-inch color LCD, like just on its own. Both of these share the LCD component, but they're different in the way that they were developed, and this goes back to imitation versus innovation. The calculator was an imitation technology, but it was a technology that already existed, but with a massive upgrade. It was the first calculator to feature a simple to read LCD screen that was pretty small and lightweight relative to other calculators that existed at the time, and also very cheap. So more people had access to it, and they just took over the market so quickly with that one. The 14-inch color LCD was a breakthrough innovation technology that marked the path towards phasing out the cathode ray tube TVs that were in the market currently, the old CRT TVs. It was very primitive at the time, and its application was limited. Like in the 90s, they would put them on video cameras and stuff like that, but they couldn't actually make them super big until later and fully phase out the CRTs. But it did lay that path towards making HD LCD displays, and it completely changed the market because of the Sharp company's innovation.